The word bungalow
Yeah.
actually comes from Bengal.
Yes.
So it's actually
I'm
a
aware of
house
that.
in Bengal which became a bungalow,
Bungalow.
which then got exported to the West and then came back
Came back.
to India. Ayn Rand I was talking about. Everybody wanted that whole objectivism, my building is the most iconic building. And in the truest sense of trying to, every architect and designer trying to make, and developer and builder trying to they make their buildings the most iconic buildings, we are just lost in a plethora of iconic buildings.
Iconic
They actually
buildings, yeah.
end up looking all the same.
They,
आपको हमेशा एज अ पेशेंट आपको डॉक्टर वो पसंद होता है
जो आपकी बात सुन,
जो आपकी बात
या
सुने,
आपकी प्रॉब्लम समझता है. True.
जो आप सुनना चाहते हो वो बोले. तो सेम इज इन आवर प्रोफेशन.
And I think एक चीज और है जो रात को 2 बजे भी फोन उठाए.
Probably look at my work after I'm dead and see a book, and I'd see all the works that I've done, and I would probably say, damn, you never had a style. How will people remember you?
Hi, I'm Leena Monga, Principal Designer at Agnom Designs, and welcome to another episode of Water Innovations by Colston. Today, I'm in talks with Mr. Adreesh Chakraborty from the Earth Home and Mr. Sanjay Bhatia from SSB Architects. Thank you so much for taking our time for this podcast. I'm happy to have you here.
थैंक्स फॉर द इनवाइट.
Thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure.
So, Mr. Adreesh, what was that one moment when you realized that you wanted to take up architecture as your career choice?
So, Leena, this might sound very cliched, okay? Okay, so I think I was in class 9th and I got a book from my cousin who's like 11 years elder to me. He used to read a lot. So I got this book and I started reading, and I read the first paragraph and I got hooked onto that book. It was called The Fountainhead. And if you ask me, today I might not be, aligned to the philosophies of Ayn Rand, because I think that created a lot of different things in the world
Yes.
which are not desirable. But as a young, impressionable teenager, I think it made a massive impact. And that was the day I was like, I'm going to do architecture. However, writer. I had no clue how, because I was not studying in school.
The backbencher.
Yeah,
Oh.
the forever backbencher. So I didn't know how I'm going to get into any joint entrance exam or whatever. But somehow I managed to become an architect. Yeah.
Managed.
Yeah.
5 years and you managed. Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Sanjay?
When I was studying, I was not so good in studies.
Another common thing.
The common thing.
Yeah.
तो आई थॉट कि मुझे क्या करना है, तो आई थॉट कि अपने को तो मस्ती करनी है. एंड माई डैड इज़ एन आर्किटेक्ट.
Okay.
सो मैं उनको बड़ा काम करते हुए देखता था, तो मुझे लगा कि इतना हार्ड वर्क मुझसे तो होगा नहीं. तो आई थॉट ऑफ डूइंग समथिंग डिफरेंट. तो मैंने कुछ एक स्टार्ट भी किया डिफरेंट. तो बट 2 साल बाद आई रियलाइज़ कि ये तो मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ इसमें, कुछ भी नहीं. माई टीम इज़ डूइंग एवरीथिंग. So then I realized कि I have to do thing different, and different is what my dad is doing. Every day he is doing something different. So then I realized of entering into this profession. तो मैंने उसको किया, but again वही as a backbencher ही किया, ठीक है कि नहीं, but with मस्ती.
Okay.
तो आज की डेट में भी till date I am also practicing with my clients totally casual, nothing formal. और अपनी पूरी टीम के साथ भी I am totally within मस्ती mood. तो this is all अब उसको enjoy कर रहे हैं, और अब passion हो गया है तो.
But I think it flows naturally because when you like what you're doing,
Yes.
then you enjoy
True.
your
Yes.
profession, and then
Yes.
it's not
It's
a
a sign.
liability. Yeah, it's. I think it just everything adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't calculate the number of hours. You don't calculate the amount of effort.
True.
No.
I think that's common between all three of us. I'm glad.
Absolutely.
Okay, so early years into the profession, any milestone project or any project that you feel that changed you as an architect.
There are multiple projects like that. The fun thing is, the first store we got was a lingerie store.
Nice. Okay, now
Very funny thing. I mean,
I want to know.
we were just probably out of college or something, and 3-4 of us were like roommates. We thought, "Ki, let's try and do something." And another friend of mine, he was not from our college. His mom had a store in one of the markets in Gurgaon, and he was like, "Yaar, aake kuch help kar de yaar." So we were very like, enthusiastic. नया project आया, इसको शुरू करते हैं.
And quite an interesting one
Interesting
in
one.
that age group. Yeah.
So I would say that was a eye opener because we got to learn a lot of woodwork and this and that and millwork. It was an interior project, of course, data points and this and that. Just the very starting point of our lives. But then over the years, I think what I really like about this profession is that we get to do new projects without probably having experience of them before. And every day is a new learning.
Yeah.
So there's so many projects. I think I learn from every project. Every project is a landmark project for me. I don't say that there's a good project, bad project. I don't do projects actually which don't interest me.
So you choose your battles.
I choose to a certain extent. I think things fizzle out on their own if I'm not too interested in them.
Yeah.
So I can say that till today, whatever I've worked on, 85 to 90% of them, I was very interested in working in them. And the few that have fizzled out or didn't work out and all that happened, and I don't have anything to complain about.
What about you? What's your take on it? I'm sure आपकी लिस्ट में काफ़ी सारे होंगे.
काफ़ी सारे होंगे, उनमें से एक बताता हूँ मैं आपको. तो द फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट आई डिड फॉर माई क्लाइंट, ही वॉज एन एडवोकेट. तो उनके साथ बड़ा मज़ा आया. तो उनका मेरे को चैम्बर डिज़ाइन करना था और घर डिज़ाइन करना था. तो बड़ी उनके वो कोई भी चीज़ है तो लॉजिकली, लॉजिक्स भी एक नहीं दो नहीं 10. तो अगेन एडवोकेसी, आई हैव टू प्रूव एवरी टाइम why I'm giving this. Yes, अदालत में थे, पूरे अदालत में थे. तो I have to prove myself why I'm giving him this option in terms of material, in terms of planning, whatever the thing is, I have to prove myself. So that was very hard. So if you are doing a first project like this, so you are in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
So what to do? So I thought, what is this profession? Every time you have to prove yourself. And till date, I'm realizing in every project you have to prove yourself.
That I absolutely agree with. But I think unless we are put in spots, we don't realize how important it is at the beginning of our career to come across these kind of projects because they shape you.
Yes.
Okay, how has your design style evolved over a period of time, or has it been stagnant? Like you have a signature style and you're just developing over it.
Yeah, it's changing day by day, it's changing year by year. Every project, we learn from every project. So every project has a very different scale, every project has a very different clientele, every project has a very different requirements. So it's by experience, you learn more and more by year. So we are learning, and if I see 20 years back, so it's a very drastic change.
How so? Like, give me an example.
See, earlier 20 साल पहले अगर मैं किसी प्रोजेक्ट को देखता था तो मेरे को लगता था कि ये कैसे शेप आउट होगा, कैसे ख़त्म होगा. और अब मेरे को लगता है कि ये तो शेप आउट भी हो जाएगा, कॉन्सेप्ट्स भी इसमें
हो जाएंगे, पोटेंशियल दिखता है.
I have different concepts for a single project. तो earlier I was confused. What can I do? अगर मेरे पास उसके thoughts होते थे तो मेरे पास वो कराने वाले नहीं थे. But nowadays, by experience, you have the clientele, that kind of a clientele also. They have trust on you also. So these are the things which change.
What about you?
You're asking about design styles?
Yeah, and how has it evolved over a period of time for you?
Okay, I get bored very fast. Okay, so I think the word style itself is something which should not be there in the dictionary.
It's short-lived.
I am not a guy for styles actually. If you really look at it, if you look at music, say for example, I am very snobbish about my music, but then I have, I think, at least 15 different genres that I listen to. Same with architecture and interiors. And I also, I mean, of course, you know, at the beginning of your career, it's like, you know, Van Gogh didn't become Van Gogh
Yeah.
on day one by doing Impressionism. So he
Absolutely.
went through the various stages of learning
yeah.
realism, you know, learning perspectives, learning whatever, and then went beyond that and became who he was, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would say that learning, uh, you know, the practical things about architecture and this and that, of course, took its time. I mean, we would, like he was saying, like, you know, we would come up with certain ideas and all of that. They were probably not executable, and we learnt on the job that they were not executable. Also, we realized, I realized that a lot of the things that we used to be idealistic, or you know, or was cool from from an architecture perspective to do, was also a trend.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I think those have been learnings. And I would say styles are not for me. I have in my studio currently, you know, 15 different kinds of projects going on. Scale, size, language, everything is different. And I find it extremely, I would say, interesting to look at, you know, different things, and it kind of keeps me refreshed all the time. And I would say, if you talk about evolution of design, I would say I'll give you the example of Dire Straits versus Mark Knopfler now. So when Dire Straits was, you know, money for nothing, but Dire Straits versus Shangri-La Mark Knopfler, I think he's also evolved with age. So
Yes, absolutely. So looking back, what are the design do's that you swear by and design don'ts that you learned the hard way?
well, design don'ts I'll start with.
Yeah. I think it's good to have those filters right
Yeah.
at the start, no?
Design don'ts would be, I would say, the earlier question I also addressed that what do you think is cool, and you're just trying to implement that without you know, sort of without any idea of how it is going to impact the project, client. You know, I mean, architecture and interiors have too many layers in them.
Yes.
Right? And just trying to implement one big great idea, like a lot of these modernist architects and all that, you know, would do at one point of time. Things are much more layered,
Yeah.
they're much more complex, and just trying to do something with one great big idea. Yeah, there can be a driving vision behind something, but I think I now try to be very uncool. I think that's the way I look at it. So the don'ts would be that. I mean, that is, I think, if you look at that, then it branches out into way too many things.
Yeah.
As to what
What
do you think.
fits the bill and
so
what
you
doesn't,
should
yeah.
always probably, so the do's would be that once you've got that out of the way, is that you know, look at who are the stakeholders of the project.
Yeah.
Like your client might be one of the stakeholders, but if it's a public building, then everybody who's using the
Everyone is
building
using-
is a
absolutely,
stakeholder.
yeah.
The person who's seeing that building from the road is a stakeholder. So if you make an ugly building, you know, your responsibility to the city is that you're that architect who made that ugly building.
Yeah.
You know, and even for interiors, say, for that matter. So you look at all the stakeholders, you look at the city, you look at what is the demand of your infrastructure that you're asking of the city. You are, so there's so many different layers. Architecture is a, you know, I like to say is a generalist profession, because you are talking about archaeology, geography, history. I mean, the entire 360-degree gamut of learning is even less
Absolutely.
for you to practice design.
Yeah.
So if you really look at that from that perspective, I would say that one of the do's would be to inform yourself as much as possible and not go into a freeze with all that information, but try and connect that
Connect the
together.
two. Yeah.
Connect everything together to then become a conduit for, you know, good
All
design.
the flows. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the design that
so
flows.
I would say that's what I do.
What about you?
See, I don't put my things on clients like a burden. Every time I feel if he's going to have a house or a home, he should have of his
what
choice.
they want, yeah.
तो my point कि I don't want to put my things, my thoughts on him. So that's my thing which I don't want to do.
So they should be the architects of their own emotions and the
Yes,
spaces, yeah.
yes. So I don't want to put my emotions on him as a burden. If he's liking this, that's okay. Unless I don't want to put all these things. And what I want to do is that as a professional, my responsibility is to put things in front of my client.
Yeah.
So every time I put the things, the way I think, if it suits to my client, so I am going to put all these things
Yeah.
there. If he's liking this, that's
Very
okay.
good, yeah.
Unless I'm not going to do any burden on him.
And what would be your don't? What is it that you'll be like, don't do it
Don't do it.
in any project? क्या चीज़ है जो आप बोलते हो कि ये नहीं करना है और ये नहीं करना है?
ये आई कैन से कि मैं कभी भी ये बोलूँगा कि जो चीज़ प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है, ठीक है, और किसी भी क्लाइंट के लिए मैं कोई बर्डन में क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ, तो वो कभी नहीं बोलूँगा मैं.
Understood. So Adreesh, you just spoke about facades and how architects are integral to how a city is going to look like. But as a designer, I've been feeling that, we guys have stopped innovating when it comes to facades. When we go to Western countries, when we go abroad, anywhere, a lot of emphasis is coming to making buildings that can draw a lot of audience, a lot of international travelers. But I think in India, that is missing. We have not been working on art-infused architecture. We have not been working on a lot of other cultural heritage insights that we can bring into architecture. We have lost all of that. We are trying to just make buildings. Do you agree? And if you do, then what do you think is the right way forward?
That's a brilliant question, actually. Thank you for asking that. So, there are 2-3 aspects of this, okay? So, if you say we're traveling 100 years back to any part of the world, you would have distinct architectural characteristics of any region that you travel to, right?
Yeah.
So, say if you travel to Southeast Asia, Japan, you would have distinct different characteristics because the traditional way of doing things. Now, tradition is also very interesting because it's a hit and trial way of achieving design over millennia.
Yeah.
Right. So you have character, you have sustainability, all of that. It just worked.
Yeah.
Right. Now with globalization happening to a great extent, what happened was that we kind of started importing different characteristics. So very interesting example I'll give you of that is that the word bungalow actually comes from Bengal.
Yes.
So it's actually a house in Bengal which became a bungalow, which then got exported to the West and then came back to India. And there are hundreds
and became a synonym to every house that was under the confines of 500 square yard to 1000 square yards.
Yeah. Right. So Westerners at that point of time didn't have that idea of an independent, good looking house like that.
Luxury to bungalow.
Yes. That was a buzzword, no? Yeah. It became a buzzword. Yeah.
So with globalization now, if you look at any city, whether it's in the West, East, wherever you go, they all look the same. There's no character actually.
Yeah.
So, and also that has happened post-modernism because, everybody, like Ayn Rand I was talking about, everybody wanted that whole objectivism, my building is the most iconic building. And in the truest sense of trying to, every architect and designer trying to make, and developer and builder trying to make their buildings the most iconic buildings, we are just lost in a plethora of iconic buildings that actually end up looking all the same. Also because today the construction methods are very similar. So
they've been standardized to some extent.
Exactly. Yeah. So standardization is one of the biggest reasons why everything looks the same. So if you look at, say, a glazing company, say, why does a commercial building have to look like a commercial building. Nobody's asked anybody in the world to make a commercial building in glass. Why do you do it?
But I think that's a capitalistic approach to design.
It is, you know what?
You just keep doing what you're doing and make money because that's scaling.
My perspective from my travels is that if you go to Scandinavian countries, there you have double-walled, beautifully executed, these whole machine aesthetic glass buildings, which makes a lot of sense because they require to trap heat. You know?
Yeah.
And they're double-layered glass buildings without any air conditioning in it, and those buildings work beautifully.
Yeah.
But if you import that look and paste it here, it's a disaster. It doesn't make any sense,
it doesn't make
right?
sense, yeah.
So I think this whole, India was, if you look at 30 years back, at least when we were growing up, India was still looking for an identity.
Yeah.
And India, in its whole search for identity, also did a lot of, I would say, import of ideas from the West. And I think that was part of India growing up.
Yeah.
I think all of us are guilty of it to a certain extent. And, but I think now we are at a place where we can kind of tilt the whole design game.
Yeah.
And I do see a lot of new practices with Indian names, and they are doing some pretty cool work. I see fashion design, when I see fashion, I think it's great because fashion designers are, I think, the ones who have been carrying the, I think flag bearer, they're the flag bearers of Indian design.
Yeah.
And I personally, I have, incorporated a lot of handicrafts and a lot of artisan work. And I really think that it is a good time for us to go back to our cultural roots, not from a sense of feeling nostalgic, but from a point of developing a new language.
Also standing out and standing tall.
And having your own identity. We cannot, if you look at the entire leaders of the world standing on stage, they don't look the same.
Yeah.
Each of us, each
have
leader
features.
have their own distinct features. So similarly, why shouldn't the architecture be like that?
Absolutely. I absolutely second that. What is your take on it?
See, the things are changing. Earlier, we were not used to do R&D things in our society, in our community. But things are changing, as you said. Now we are adopting all these R&D things. See, in UK or in Europe, everywhere you see the metros, they were used to have metros 100 years back.
Yes.
And we have just 20 years back.
Yes.
So they were used to do things like this, which were for the future.
Yeah.
But now we are going to adopt all these things. So things are changing very drastically, and from our from Indian perspective point of view, so Indian designers, like you said, as earlier fashion designers were doing drastic things at the international platform. Now you can see from our community, from our professional community, people are coming good. So they are also having a good platform, a good name, a fame in this international society. So the things are changing very drastically now.
Yes. So what's some common misconception you feel clients have about the design process, and how would you want to break it?
Clients can think whatever they want to think about the design process, but they're coming to professionals like you and me, not because that we can deliver something in terms of a deliverable, like, it's a drawing, set of drawings or whatever. I think it's the years of preparation that you've done.
Yep.
Not only your college education, but your curiosity, your mind, the amount of research you've done, your travels, and all the midnight oil that you've burnt, and the hard work that you've put in every day, in and out, and every night also. In our profession, you know how it is.
Absolutely.
And it is those many years of experience and everything condensed. So when you draw a line on paper, that line is just not a line.
Yeah.
It has got, I think, 75 to 100 thought processes attached to it.
Yes.
So a design can happen in 5 minutes. You can just sketch a design and it's done, and it can be, I mean, it's happened like that in my studio. So I would say that there's the process of design, if you see, it can be systemized. I mean, in my office, we have systemized design in terms of how it has to be developed into a deliverable. But the design process as such, if you see, like, there's a very interesting design process thinking called black box and glass box thinking. So glass box thinking talks about where you can see how the process develops, and black box thinking is that you cannot see how the process develops.
You just see the end.
You just see. So, it's again that 360-degree hard work,
Outlook, yeah.
everything that you've put together, all your travels, experience, all your reading, all your exposure to whatever things is what makes you a great designer and a great design practice.
Very well said. What do you think, what are the common misconceptions about design process that we guys encounter on everyday basis?
The main thing is the client wants according to his taste, according to his budget. And when you are doing things, you want to do things according to your own style, taste. So, but that depends on the client to client. If client is having 100% surety on you, he is relying on you. So what is relying on you? If you are giving him a concept which is totally out of the box, maybe it may be unrealistic, and you are going to put all the efforts to do into a realistic thing. So if the client is not having a surety on you, the misconception is coming like in this way: he is not relying on you, and you are not going to put the 100% there.
Yes.
So you have to put always every time you have to put on the client's note, on the client's views. See, the main thing, आपको हमेशा as a patient, आपको डॉक्टर वो पसंद होता है
जो आपकी बात सुने, आपकी प्रॉब्लम समझता है. True.
जो आप सुनना चाहते हो वो बोले. तो सेम इज इन आवर प्रोफेशन.
I agree completely.
And I think एक चीज और है जो रात को 2 बजे भी फोन उठाए. I think a common problem we guys have.
But this is very true,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of like I was discussing with you before about being cool, and one of the things about being uncool is that actually trying to get to know what does your client want.
Yes.
And that is so important.
Because you have to find the right fit. A design is, the minute it stops resonating with the people using it, it's a misfit.
Yes.
And any misfit is something which can just be an aesthetically pleasing thing, but it's never going to be used.
A very cool, I think, analogy that I have, I mean, it comes to me from time to time. We are always talking about startups in, today's day and age. But if you look at us, as designers, we've always been a startup.
Absolutely.
Reason being, we were bootstrapped. And every project, the client was the investor.
Yeah.
We didn't put our money for the project to happen, right?
Yes.
The client was the investor. And if you look at a startup today, any startup would fail if they don't listen to their customer base.
Yes. And if they don't repay the investors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think what the client wants, the client is like an investor. You are somebody who has that capital, intellectual capital to turn that fund into something which kind of,
goes exponential.
Yeah. And then in the process, both of you benefit as well as all the stakeholders.
Yes. Great way of looking at it. And I'm glad that I brought this up, because there's so many times, when we are trying to figure out, are we still a startup? Are we, have we, arrived as entrepreneurs?
I think nobody
in
ever
every project
arrives.
we are the startup.
So that's what. So I think we are the only professional stream which is never going to graduate to being an absolute entrepreneur. Like, we'll always be a startup.
The thing is that if you look at Steve Jobs, he said, stay hungry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you would stop becoming an entrepreneur if you think that you've made it.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Because
I
the
mean, I think
innovation will stop.
the blood should always be,
Rushing.
young and rushing and thinking that I'm the underdog.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so every designer has, a certain style. You look at their building and you know it's theirs. Do you have a style? Or would you want to put yourself in that box?
We discussed this before in a different way, but I would say that I would probably never, I mean, I would probably look at my work after I'm dead and see a book, and I'd see all the works that I've done. And I would probably say, damn, you never had a style. How will people remember you?
So you're an artist with no canvas, is
No,
it?
I have a lot of canvases, but you
But you
cannot
never-
really. I think the world is too exciting, yeah,
That is true.
to kind of just try and define. It's damn boring to try and define yourself. If you have a great thought process, like I'll say, again, the style word is not, I think, the right word, because if you look at history, say for example, so you had these, if you go through history of architecture, you had the work bund and you had this
Yes.
whole modernist movement, and there are 4 movements within that. So if you look at a building like, say, Mies van Rohe's buildings, and if you look at those buildings, they were coming from a thought process where that great big idea, where the intellectual power of that idea was so strong that it could kind of shape architecture, materials, buildings, everything, and it was shaping society literally.
Yeah.
Now the thing is that had its pros and cons as well, because the entire layered society or whatever, like if you read books like Complexity and Contradiction in Architecture, more postmodern kind of ideas that came out because of all these things that preceded it. So neither was it wrong nor was it right, but how did the world benefit? Yes, in certain ways it did definitely benefit, but that strong kind of an identity came out because of that kind of an ideology.
True.
But in today's day, if you really look at it, you will not have a style in today.
Yeah.
There's no style. There are trends which come and go, which I think for interiors it still works because interiors have a shorter lifespan.
Yes.
But for architecture, I think trends are not going to last. So basically, you have classical and modern. So either you're choosing, but and you have the parametrics and this and
Yeah.
I mean, you can broadly say these are the things, but intellectually, if you go back into these things, I mean, they're what you're seeing on the face of it. Now, parametricism, if you really look at it, is about parameters.
Relatively, yeah.
Right? It comes from parameters. If you put certain parameters in a program, it has nothing to do with architecture. It's
Yeah.
about a you're trying to work out something based on a model.
True.
Now that is used as a language, and if you're doing it, if you're I think the intention and the execution of parametricism is correct, then I think it's great. Now, there's also another interesting thing is that art can be ugly, but architecture can't be.
Can't be ugly. True.
So, if parametricism through an algorithm, you end up making a building and you say that I'm going to be true to it, I'm going to make it, and it turns out ugly, which it can. I mean,
Yeah.
a machine's aesthetic might not
Be aligned with
be
yours.
aligned with
Yeah.
what humans see as
Can
beauty.
envision, yeah.
And if the parameters were not, beauty was not one of the parameters, then
Yeah.
you'll end up with something which is
not maybe pleasing
maybe
to the eye.
atrocious.
Yeah. True.
And I would say so. People are essentially juggling between these 3 names, but I think what is most important is to kind of go back and see where these things came from, and in a certain sense, kind of incorporate the ideologies and the places from where they came, rather than just kind of putting a style on board. And of course, when you're talking to a client, you can't have this design discussion with somebody. So you will have to kind of,
Deviate and
not
maneuver your way
deviate, I
around.
would say make it understandable, because these are very deep conversations, which is probably I mean,
Not-
we can have it on this podcast, but
Of
it's
course.
not probably possible to have with everyone.
True.
So I would say that knowing the depth of it and then delivering exactly what is required, getting your way, but then again, the client is the investor, so you know what they want, and then you kind of figure out a way to create what you want
So
to
that
create.
is your design style. Or maybe I think with you, what I can decipher is that, instead of naming it as a style, let's call it a design philosophy, because
that
it's
would be much
there's
nicer.
there's a thought.
That would be
There
much
is not,
nicer.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
really confined to lines
Yeah.
and shapes.
Yeah.
It's more to do with
And philosophies
thoughts.
change, I mean, if you ask me, I was naive when I was 20, like
Yeah.
20 years back. I was like, I'm going to make this and this and that. Probably, what he is at this age right now.
And what about you? Any
I
design
totally
style
agree
that
with
you have?
Adreesh. As he said, trends come and go.
Yeah,
They are not forever.
they're not
True.
So you can't put your style on your client. So every time you have to see, you have to be selective on this. Yes, but what I personally do, I try to take what's the trend at the moment, and I try to put the trendy thing, the balance of all the things, like the modern style, the Indian style, the fusion of all these things. So, but trends are not forever. So you can't see this is my trend and I want to put this style on each of my client. So that's not fair.
So, but there's one thing that I wanted to bring to the table, that I interviewed somebody very senior on this podcast, and the point is that people with old school of thought have always had, like I said, a style, and they were happy to be associated with it. But do you think it is to do with the kind of clientele we have that they did not have back then? Or is it because we guys don't want to be put inside a box and they were okay being in the confines that they were in? Do you think clients are the reasons, or is it
No,
this,
no,
or is
no.
it circumstantial?
Clients are not the reasons. One of my best friends, philosophers and guides is an architect. He was a very well-known architect. And I'm not going to take his name, but we are the best of friends. He's 90 years old. He was one of those, modernist architects when he was practicing. And he still practices, and he's a true modernist,
Okay. And he's 90.
He's 90 years old. And, I worked with him, I think it was my second job or something like that. And we've been friends since then. And we've worked together also. And it's amazing, the kind of relationship we have. And, I would say that architects who were that era, the entire world was going through this movement of modernism.
Yeah.
Okay. And putting details, and the world was coming out of details. So, ornamentation, which was there through and through history, was considered to be old school
Yes.
for them, right?
Yeah.
So they actually stripped buildings of ornamentation and they made them minimalist. Or, I mean, minimalism is also a different style, actually, not
Yes.
a style, a different thought process. Modernism and minimalism are different,
yeah.
but I would say that their ideas of modernism didn't allow them to use decoration. But you will see tendencies. If you see Louis Khan's buildings, say for example, in Bangladesh, okay, if you see photographs of that building, you will see that there is that yearning for detailing which he knows he's very good at, but he
Could not do
use
it.
it properly because
was
of
in
this
that era.
whole thing that the world was
Modernism,
going
yeah.
through. So, I feel that they did kind of stop themselves from doing a lot of brilliant work that they could do at one point of time. But then that was what the world was like. They were modernists. They were changing the world. And there's some phenomenal buildings. I am a big fan of that Shriram Center of Arts. I studied that building as a kid. I say kid, but as a student of architecture. I studied that building. I studied Tibet House. This is Shivnath Prasad's building on near to CP.
And yeah.
Brilliant buildings, brutalist, and Chanakya Cinema, the old one.
Yeah.
These were these phenomenal expressions of architecture that came out from that time, and it had a lot of value, right? But if we see that in today's date, it's a multi-layered world. We do not have one big idea. We do not have a thought process that is changing everything. Everything is coming from everywhere. If you look at geopolitics today, it's multi-layered. There's no one dominating idea on anything. And I think architecture is a reflection of society. So we are today practicing something that is happening all across the world as an outcome of what the world is today.
Yes.
So I would say that's my take on that.
So Mr. Sanjay, we just discussed sustainability, and let's circle back to how important sustainability is when it comes to water. Now, we designers are always struggling, finding the right balance between what is saving water and what is aesthetically right. What is your take on it?
See, nowadays, sustainability in terms of water management, there are a lot of things is there. There you have features like AI enabled features you can control water management there, you can control energy savings also there. So there are a lot of things which are AI enabled, and a lot of things which you can you are having from the vendors.
Yes.
Vendors in terms of fixtures, in terms of hardwares, in everything. So if I see in fixtures, there are a lot of things nowadays which we have different types of finishes. We have lot of finishes. We have nowadays we are having PVD finishes.
Yeah.
We have I think 7 to 8 type of colors there.
And finishes, yeah.
So in terms of, as a designer, you can play in terms of colors. Earlier there were only 1 or 2 colors. Earlier there were electroplating coatings, so they were not so long lasting. Nowadays you have PVD coated things, and these are also, they are very long lasting. So you can rely on them. You can always say to your customer, yes, you can go for these colors. I can tell you one example. In previous times, one of our client told us, I want a special finish there. So, but there were limitations. So, and he was so fixed in his finishing. I want this finish, but that has to be long lasting. So, but there were limitations. Nowadays, you don't have any limitations. You can have any finish on any fixture.
And anything, yeah. And so I think finish is also, I mean, if we look at the longevity, if anything is lasting longer, is automatically sustainable. Exactly. Yes. So I'm glad that people are innovating finishes, but they're also looking at the longevity aspect of it, especially considering the residential use and the kind of rough use we have in residences, the kind of maintenance we have in residences. I think all the water innovations should be centered around how aesthetics and sustainability should be balanced, and they should be in equilibrium.
Yes.
Now coming to the commercial side of it, and how do you think that the commercial fittings, like the commercial areas, can have these kind of fittings where sustainability can be boosted?
Let's not talk about commercial and residential separately, because then my take is that whatever fittings are there, in high-end commercial projects you have very good fittings, which are also not there in some of the residential projects. So
True.
So I would say fittings and fixtures in general, I see that there are two aspects in terms of technology that fittings and fixtures have become really good at. Since he's already covered the finishes, I don't want to get into that. But first, I'm going to talk about the user experience.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, basic motions are the same, right?
Yeah.
You open a tap, water comes in, you shut it, right? And anything and everything, I mean, it's like a chair,
Yeah.
right? So the essential functional aspects are similar, unless somebody comes up with a new thing. But I think what is really interesting is that with all the technology that we have today, the user experience has really transformed. You know, now you can have gesture-oriented, you know, baths. You can have, you know, the way you, you know, turn the knob of the dial, and you know the water is coming out. You know, these are all experiences that you're kind of the way you're interacting with the fitting, the way you're interacting with the fixture. And more and more I'm seeing a lot of sensors getting used, you know.
Absolutely.
And it kind of keeps you abreast with whatever is going on in the world in terms of AI, in terms of tech, all of that. And I think it's a great thing to be able to, because experience at the end of the day is what design is all about.
Yes.
Right? So it's not the building.
It's a way of life.
You're not going to touch the wall or the finish, but you're experiencing that in your own sensibility. So we are actually, architecture is all in your brain at the end of the day.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
similarly, that user experience is what we are looking at. And that I think has improved phenomenally over the last 4 or 5 years. You know, I mean, it's just gone through the roof.
But I think this is a big game changer when it comes to sustainability.
It is
also.
the game changer. Yeah, in terms of sustainability, if you look at it, so one of the greatest things that has happened is that, you know, fittings and fixtures have evolved so much in terms of how they throw water. Okay, so there's a lot of science behind it, how water is thrown. And you know, each of these nozzles and everything is designed in a certain way so that it has maximum impact when the water hits you.
Yes.
So, you know, sustainability would require that you get everything done with the least amount of water.
Yes.
So, of course, there are low flow fixtures and all that we talk about. So in a shower, in a typical, you know, shower, you would use about 14 liters of water per minute.
Water per minute, yeah.
Which is, I think, very, very high. But if you look at the experience of that, and at the overall end of the entire water cycle, you are harvesting that water, you are, you know, you have a STP or something, and you're reusing that water
Reusing
somewhere.
it, yes.
Then probably it doesn't matter. But if you're not doing it, then it matters. So
Yes.
I would say everybody deserves that experience to have the best shower
Yep.
possible.
Yep.
And how you look at it sustainably is something that I think depends on the calculation, that where are you putting it? Does it have that kind of a thing?
So that
to
is where you guys come into the picture, where the architects have to design the things around it so that, you know, it becomes more sustainable than just being a fixture.
It is, and
Yeah.
if you see these rain showers are also now fitted with the mist, this thing, you know, there's a nozzle
A fitting,
for
yeah.
mist. And maybe sometime in the future, it will become something which is feasibly used. I mean, it's not only that you're using it in space,
Yeah, true.
but you're using it on planet Earth.
On planet Earth. Yes, absolutely. But thank you so much for all the insights and all the wisdom you've just shared with me. And I'm sure the listeners and the people who are going to be watching this podcast are getting a lot of insight into the kind of world we guys are in, and people who are trying to become architects or designers would love the interaction we've just had. I have loved every bit of it. But thank you so much.
Same here.
Same.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you. Thanks for
There's a
inviting
small gesture that we would like to do. We'd like to give you something which is a token of appreciation. So for that, I'd like you guys to get up. This one for you.
Thank you so much.
You guys are the guest of honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.